Shoulder pain is a very common musculoskeletal issue. There's a lot of different causes for shoulder pain. On a very simple level, we could be looking at things like muscle tears or tendon strains. On a more serious level, we could be looking at things like labral tears or tendon tears, even things like frozen shoulder. But for the sake of this video, we're going to be talking about shoulder pain related to simple musculoskeletal issues such as muscle strain or even tendon strains. Ultimately though, if anything you do within this video causes you pain, just stop. Always go and get it checked out by a professional. So with shoulder pain, a lot of shoulder pain comes on as a result of repetitive movements or lifting something that's too heavy. So shoulder pain is very common amongst people who are active within the gym. So we're going to start off by loosening the shoulder, helping the muscles to relax. To do that, we're going to use the Peanut. And I like to do shoulder stuff up against the wall. I just find to get more control. So with your Peanut, place it up against a wall, lean into it, and take your feet away from the wall. From here, you can start to bend your legs or straighten your legs just to get movement, so you're rolling up and down the Peanut. Now this is quite a gentle way of doing it, especially if you're in that spinal groove area. But it's good to just get those muscles starting to loosen up and a little bit more relaxed, a bit of blood flow going through those shoulder muscles. So start with it on the outside of your arm. Remember, the further away you take your feet, the more pressure you can get into that Peanut. So once you've done that, you can then turn to face the wall. So we're now starting to work into the front of the shoulder. Same thing, lean up against the wall, take your feet further away to add more pressure, and use your legs to bend and straighten to go up and down against the wall. Do that 10 times. That's just gonna help to loosen up the front of the shoulder. And then we can go into the back of the shoulder, find the angle that suits you best, and also depending on which way you're going, but go up and down, just try and work into those rotator cuff muscles. From there, once you've done that, say 10 to 15 times, I'm going to take one ball off. Now remember, the different balls have different firmness. The one with the bumps is harder, and the one with the grooves is a little bit softer. So choose whichever one is most appropriate for you. So we're using just one ball, place that up against the wall, lean into it. So now we're working the side of the shoulder like we did at the start, but this time we're going to hunt for tender points. So as you move up and down the ball, just try and find anywhere in the shoulder that's tender. So let's say I've got a tender point just there. I'm going to just pause on that point and just let my body relax into it. Right now, my body's feeling some pain. If I keep moving around, that pain is going to keep getting stimulated. If I stay on that point, those pain signals will start to die down and allow my muscles to relax. So that's why I like to just stay in one place. Once you've done that for say 30 seconds to a minute, you can bring that ball more around to the front of your shoulder, start moving up and down, trying to find tender points in the front of the shoulder. When you find those tender points, press and hold for 30 to 60 seconds. If you're a beginner to this kind of thing, I would go with about 30 seconds. If you're more experienced or you know that you don't get too sore, 60 seconds is okay. You just have to choose the duration that your body can handle. So once I've done that, I'm then going to move around into the back of my shoulder. So I bring my arm up, take the ball underneath, press that into my rotator cuff and lean up against the wall. From here, I roll around looking for those tight points. So if I found one there, I'm going to press and hold. And with my arms, I've got my arms folded right now, but I'm also relaxing my arms. So I'm not holding my arm in place, I'm relaxing that shoulder, allowing the ball to get into those muscles. If you want, you can also start to bring your arm across your body like this to try and stretch out the muscles. Totally up to you. I like to just hold and relax. So once you've held there for about 30 seconds, move to another point. And the more you do this, the more you're going to get used to where in your shoulder you've got pain. So you have to keep moving the ball around, rotating around, trying to find those tender points. So every time you get a tender point, press and hold and just relax. So once you've worked the front, the side and the back of your shoulder, I like to just work around the shoulder blade as well. So we're going to work the muscles attaching to the shoulder blade. To do that, I'm going to just start with it up here, just above the shoulder blade, sort of in between the shoulder blade and the spine, I'm going to come up against the wall, lean back into the wall slightly and move around, looking for those tender points. When you find one, you press and hold. Hold for 30 to 60 seconds and then move yourself towards your spine a little bit more. If you find any tender points, work into them. If not, let's get that ball a bit lower. Trying to find tender points on the inside of the shoulder blade. Once you find one, press and hold. After about 30 seconds, move more towards the spine. If you can't find any, then move to the next point. So sometimes to get that ball a bit lower, I put my hips against the wall and just gently lean forward until that ball drops. And that way, as long as you've got good contact with the wall, you don't need to worry about trying to use your arms to get it in position. So again, starting the inside of the shoulder blade and then working in towards the spine. You can also work into the pecs as well if you want to. So to work the pecs, just come off the shoulder so you feel that sort of indentation. Once you get there, lean up against the wall. Press in, look for those tender points within your pec. Once you have it, press and hold. And then you can start working your way towards the center of your chest. Most of the time people get quite sore in their chests, and you can also work lower down into the sort of bulkier part of the pecs as well if you want to. So once we've used the ball, what we're going to do is go into some stretches. I'm going to show you 4 very simple stretches. Now when it comes to stretches, quite often you'll see people stretching the shoulder like this. That's one stretch that I actually never do, and the reason is because as people, we're often quite hunched, particularly if we're working at desks all day. So what we want to do is try and open up the front of the chest and contract the back. But by doing this, we're actually stretching the back and contracting the front, so it doesn't make sense. First one we're going to do is start with a pec stretch. So place your arm up against the wall, forearm flat onto the wall and elbow at 90 degrees. The leg that's the same side as the arm you're trying to stretch, step that forwards and then try and rotate your body away from your arm. If you want to look away, that's fine as well. So you should be feeling that through your pec. Hold that for 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and then we're going to move on to the next one. For the next one, we're going to work something called the levator scapula, which runs just down here. To do that, I'm going to bring my arm up, elbow bent, so my hand's behind me, like I'm trying to stretch my triceps. I push myself into the wall and look away from the arm that I'm stretching. If you can't feel anything, try bending your head to the side. Sometimes you need to adjust your head position to get the stretch. Also push yourself as much into the wall as you can, and that should help too. You should be feeling that just in the neck, around here. On the other side, just so you can see what I'm doing, I lift my arm up, bend my elbow, push myself into the wall, and then try and turn my head away from the arm that I'm stretching. The next stretch is to stretch your serratus anterior, which attaches to your shoulder blade, and that helps to contribute to your shoulder coming forwards. To do this, we're going to place hand on the small of your back, sort of top of the glutes, with your fingers pointing down. From here, you're going to lean into the wall. So the wall is on the outside of your elbow. You take your feet slightly further away so you've got pressure going into the wall, and then try and rotate away from that elbow. It's almost like you're trying to push your elbow in towards your spine. So behind me, my elbow relatively is coming in this way. So if I show you what it looks like from the other side, hand flat on your lower back, elbow against the wall, lean into the wall, and then try and rotate away. And then the last stretch I want to show you is for your infraspinatus, which is one of your rotator cuff muscles. To do this one, we're going to place the hands on the lower back, but this time with the fingers pointing across the back. So from here, now we're going to get the wall against the back of the elbow. Before it was on the outside, this time it's on the back. And we're trying to bring the elbow in front of us. So I'm leaning against the wall, and now I'm going to rotate towards that elbow. So it's almost like I'm trying to bring my elbow in front of me. Now, it doesn't matter if the shoulder is slightly coming away from the wall, and it doesn't matter if your fingers are up against the wall or not. The main thing is what's happening at the shoulder. You should be feeling that either across the shoulder here or into the back of the shoulder. So those are the 4 simple stretches for your shoulder. If you're consistent with these stretches and you're consistent with using the peanut or the massage ball, you will probably notice your shoulder becomes a lot looser. Once it becomes looser, the next step for you would be to start to strengthen your shoulder. But for now, the main thing is that you're consistent with your stretching and give it time. Another thing I would suggest is that you maintain movement as much as you can. The more you can keep your shoulder moving, the more blood you get through those muscles, and the more that helps it to repair. Now, in terms of movement, if you're just doing shoulder rotations like this, make sure you're not going into pain. So for example, if it causes you pain at this angle here, then just stop before you get to that point. So if I'm doing shoulder circumductions, for example, and I'm getting pain every time I get to there, then next time just come down a little bit lower. So you're not trying to push yourself into pain. And the same goes with all of these stretches. If you're feeling pain, then just stop. So I hope these stretches give you some relief and helps to loosen up your shoulder.